Now, I know what you're all thinking. Didn't we already go over this with Sweet Lemons? And yeah, we did, but my little hypothesis that I made in my last video has been proven right, where there's now copycat situations. I've gotten like a handful of comments asking me to cover it, so, you know, why not? Fair warning, I'm like 99% sure this kid's a troll, so I'll try to be aiming my commentary at a broader subject rather than just critiquing the actions of this one specific individual. However, I will go over the aspect of them being a troll as well. Without further ado, let's just get into the situation.
Kanye West, he likes big fingers in his ass. Kanye West, he likes good fingers in his ass.
Recently, a user known as Kailah Gaming has gotten into some drama revolving around a fake game end incident, as well as them being incredibly racist and also slandering several of the users. They're a pretty small channel, only sitting at about 100 subs at the time of recording, and they've made several exposed videos on various users, a lot of which involve fake or out of context screenshots. Needless to say, they're all just bullshit. There is like no actual exposing, and they seem to like using the N-word, hard R, to frame people for racism. Like, damn girl, if you're gonna frame someone for being racist, at least try a little harder than that. The video that people are most upset over is one of her political skits. I am trying so hard not to get this video demonetized, so if you're wondering what happened, just Google it, please. Anyways, let's summarize the video, seeing as she probably copyright strike my ass when I put a single clip of footage in, and again, I'm banking on the fact that this kid is just a complete troll, because if there's one thing I like to be, it's cautiously optimistic, and even though I've been proven wrong over and over again by this community, I simply refuse to believe that anyone is capable of being this utterly brain dead while lacking an astronomical amount of self-awareness. Basically what happened in the video is that there's 3 Muslim women labeled Slutty Muslim, Proper Muslim, and LGBT Muslim. Proper Muslim asks if 2 of her friends heard that noise, while LGBT Muslim answers no. Slutty Muslim says that she hopes it's a Russian bomb, and very poor grammar, and then after that it's just footage of the explosion, which needless to say is incredibly awful to post and should be taken down. Someone also left a comment talking about how her mom and brother died in the explosion, to which Kailah responded, "I'm glad it did." The original commenter edited the comment, but you can see in the reply here that this talks about the pre-edit. Even if you are a troll, that's incredibly insensitive, and it's not even trolling at that point, it's just being an awful person. I've said this a million times, but trolling doesn't excuse just being a piece of shit. It doesn't mean being glad someone's family is dead. There's a line between trolling and being a terrible person, and saying that is most definitely crossing it. As for the fake screenshot exposing videos, I'd like to stop trying to commit libel, because that never goes well. Obviously, I'm not trying to insinuate that someone's gonna drag this alleged 9-year-old's ass to court over a video with like 2,000 views, but I'm just throwing it out there. Also, the age in the bio just lends itself to my theory that this kid is trolling, because no 9-year-old is ever proud of the fact that they're 9. Everyone wants to seem older and more mature than they actually are, and everyone lies about their age when they're 9. It would have been more believable if they had said something like 14, 15, even 20, because that at least shows they're trying to hide their age. Rather, the situation just appears to be the opposite. Someone who's older trolling and trying to appear younger. I mean, I guess there still is that possibility of them actually just being 9, but I highly doubt it. Oh, and we also didn't even get into the whole faking her own death part. Let's review that. Now, this is the part of the video where, troll or not, a line was definitely crossed. I legitimately don't care if Kailah was a troll before this point, but this is just despicable in every sense of the word. In the video, several screenshots are shown containing conversations between her and another user called Astronomical. The beginning of the video is staged as if it's Kailah's mother making the video, which already red flags because 1, spelling and grammar, and 2, if you're a mother who just found her daughter dead, the last thing you'd want to do is make a video announcing her death with a Nightcore song to her 100 subscribers. I know it's a troll, I'm just saying that there was no even attempt to make this any kind of believable. Kailah says it was Astri who pushed her to the edge, but in the screenshot she shows, Kailah is the one who's harassing Astri and not the other way around. She's just being so fucking manipulative and generally gross in these messages that I actually want to puke, but this is what the conversations entailed. It starts off with her sending a picture of allegedly her cut arm. I do not believe that, but anyway, she continues this by saying, "In case you wondered what impact your words have on me." Astri says, "Can you not send me cuts? And you're the one who threatened to kill me and told me my parents should have aborted me. That's your response to my arm? Yes, let's not send cuts. Glad you don't care I self-harmed from you." And continuing on, Astri says, "Mainly the fact that I hate blood and cuts, it messes with my head, and you're the one who literally sent me death threats and tried to grab my IP. Since you don't care, I'ma just continue bleeding until I die." And then in the last screenshot, Ashley says, "What the fuck? Weren't you the one who literally sent me death threats and wanted me to be aborted and raped by my parents and called me the N-word and the F-slur? Or am I thinking of somebody else?" So there's so much to unpack here, but let's just get right into it. First of all, the fact that she literally sent Ashley a picture of a sliced up arm. Whether or not it was actually her picture is unclear, as they do not show the picture thankfully, but it's far more likely that she just got it off Google. However, I don't care what mental state you're in, sending someone a picture of your self-harm and saying it's their fault is deplorable, despicable, and just trashy in every conceivable way you can slice it. Blaming mental illness or suicide on someone else is already a shit thing to do, but sending someone graphic images and blaming them is just a whole new level of scum. Not to mention that Ashley mentions multiple things Kailah has done to harass them, such as trying to grab her IP, calling her slurs, sending death threats, and other miscellaneous forms of fucking harassment and legitimate bullying. Now, it's one thing to take insults out of context, but Kailah is literally just harassing this user. And the fact that she's trying to guilt trip her by making her think she died is just a whole new level of fucked up. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure Ashley knows that she didn't do anything wrong, and neither did anyone else, but the fact this was even attempted is just kind of revolting to the highest degree. Oh, and also the attempt to incite even more harassment by posting her Instagram along with the dumbass hashtag Justice for Kailah. Let me make this crystal clear. If you try to blame your mental health, or anyone's mental health, on somebody completely and totally irrelevant to your problem, you're a piece of fucking shit. Depression is a complicated thing, and I'm not saying people who abuse others aren't responsible for their mental illnesses. I'm talking about blaming someone who's done nothing wrong, and in this case was even the one being attacked. If your goal in telling someone that it's their fault that you're going to die is just getting them to feel bad about it or guilty or apologize or just generally get something out of them, congrats, you're awful. And I haven't even gotten into the quote-unquote apology she posted after the fact, so let's get started. There's like 3 slides, only 2 of which are relevant, so here they are. Well, it's all because of my suicide prank video, and my response to the haters is, okay, so right off the bat, extremely unapologetic as expected, but there's also the added bonus of her just calling this a prank, which is, not at all what it is. I think you spelled an attempt to manipulate the feelings of my audience into bullying an innocent person wrong. Again, all it takes is the wrong kid to see this and start thinking these pranks are acceptable and okay, and I use pranks very, very lightly here, and then the cycle just starts all over again. And then she continues it by saying, "Please shut up because most people end their lives for attention anyway, so who cares if I prank?" So here's, again, another massive fucking problem, mainly being that she's just saying most people who end their own lives are doing it for attention. I can acknowledge that this is just bait, but I must reiterate that this is something that anyone can watch, and anyone includes kids. Kids who, I've mentioned like a billion times, are very impressionable and can struggle with these kinds of thoughts themselves. And hearing this without any context or prior information about the topic, they can just start thinking they're attention-seeking too, and they don't take their feelings seriously. There's just a big problem with mental health in general, where people gaslight themselves into thinking that they're overreacting or being too dramatic, which is never the case, because when you're suffering from a genuine mental illness, you're not doing it for attention, you're just actually suffering. If you're faking a mental illness, you know what you're doing, but the last thing we need is people doubting themselves when it comes to something serious as depression. And as somebody who struggled with it for a good majority of my life, the worst thing you can do is not get help as soon as you possibly can, or just not recognize that there is a problem.
Shark, Pog.
Now, responding to people who are baiting or trolling is kind of a gray zone, usually leaning towards not paying them any mind. Generally, my rule of thumb when it comes to responding to people who I think are baiting is if I can actually apply criticisms of the user to a wider audience or community, I'll go for it just so my commentary doesn't go to waste. Typically, people who make fake exposed videos or are racist or something just for the sake of baiting people shouldn't even get the time of day and just a report, but to an extent I was debating whether or not to cover this video before I saw the screenshots of what Kailah was saying. I thought this would have just been, like talking to a brick wall, but there are actual people being hurt here, provided the screenshots aren't staged or anything, making this a bit of an outlier situation. There is actual harm being done here, and it's not just someone spamming comments or making dumb killing videos. There was literally someone minding their own business, and then this random ass kid just comes in and starts harassing them, trying to frame them as a bully, and then trying to get their what little fans they had to go after them. It's worth talking about because this isn't a victimless crime, so to speak, and people have indeed gotten hurt. I highly highly doubt that my commentary and opinions will leave any kind of lasting effect on Kailah besides, them going after me too, but there are people that should know how to deal with this kind of stuff. Simple explanation, if a troll is going after you, just block them and don't bother paying them any attention. They can say all sorts of horrible things to you or somebody you look up to, but the moment you stop giving them attention is the moment they lose their reason to make that kind of stuff. Because in pretty much every single case, it's just them looking for a reaction or any crumb of attention. As tempting as it is to get into arguments with them or berate them in the comments or any of that stuff, doing that is only a waste of time at best if you're detached from the situation, and a tiring escapade that's ultimately worthless if you're emotionally invested. Usually these people don't even listen to critique of any sorts, which I guess makes me doing this pointless here, but I still want to talk about this purely because I can. It's petty to perpetuate an argument with a troll who clearly doesn't care about anything you have to say because they're only doing it to be noticed, really. It's cliche, but if someone's making an utter ass themselves, being insensitive or just otherwise hurtful without being directly malicious towards somebody, simply just report their videos and move on. It does nobody any good to perpetuate this kind of stuff if it's harmless. Kailah is actively harming not only Ashtray, but people who actually do suffer from mental illnesses themselves and try to reach out on the internet for help. Every time we see someone fake this kind of stuff, that little seed of doubt grows a little more when we see similar cases of someone expressing their suicidal thoughts, or in really terrible cases, their actual death. Now, people will obviously react with support for the creator or person venting if they're not total pieces of garbage, but the urge to ask for proof will be there, and that can be incredibly hurtful to someone who's actually going through loss or struggling with mental health. It's like a boy who cried wolf situation where one false incident sent a precedent of mistrust. If you want to troll, I won't stop you, but just don't do this. It's unfortunate that I even have to give this situation attention, but it is important to talk about this because there are lines that needn't be crossed. One thing I want to know is why these people do this. They die on the hill that they're not trolling, but we all see right through it. I just want to know what makes you crave that negative attention over positive attention from actually doing something worthwhile. Is it laziness? Desperation? Why hurt people on purpose when you could actually be, not a worthless piece of shit? We're talking Gacha, where you really don't need any skills except a rock-bottom basic understanding of how editing works. It's sad, really, that people actually willingly do this, because there's also the aspect of your future self. Like, are you gonna look back on the time you baited people with fake suicide pranks and legitimate harassment and be like, yeah, that was one of my prouder moments? Fuck no, dude. Save yourself the embarrassment and just can it. And then let's not forget about the possibility that someone you know could find out about this, and then you're really fucked. Overall, it's just ultimately a lose-lose situation that yields no positive results for anyone involved, but if you want to be an utter piece of trash, that's on you. I can't stop you. Just don't be surprised when you get your fucking account banned.
Like you cut, G.
So there you have it, fellas, the latest installment in what bullshit is the Gacha community up to now. There's obviously no hope for this video or even receiving a crumb of monetization, so if you enjoyed this, maybe watch some of my other videos too, that would be pretty poggers. Be sure to like and subscribe if you found this entertaining or just thought I had some decent points. It's free and refundable anytime. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.